next game in my Screen Stars series sees us moving back to the small screen and a cartoon called Droids, obviously based on the Star Wars characters R2-D2 and C-3PO. Let's just get that going. So, I'm a massive Star Wars fan. You may have seen a few little things around the room that illustrate that. But I thought while the game's loading we'd take a look at my Star Wars collection, because I am a really big fan of the two droids. R2-D2 is my favourite character, so let's take a look at that stuff, and obviously we'll take a look at the packaging and the game. So let's just take a little look at my Star Wars collection. This is a big picture painting of R2-D2 on the wall. R2-D2 is my favourite character and the droids are probably my two favourite characters, so here's a big shelf full of different R2-D2 collectibles. As you can see, he's lending himself to a lot of different items. At the front there's the two characters in their droids guise, cartoony style. And just to pan out a bit, here's some of my other Star Wars stuff. You can see all the vintage figures and so on. And down here is my vintage R2-D2 beer cooler. And over in this display cabinet next to the computers and things is more R2-D2 stuff. Cookie jar, money box, and a C-3PO cookie jar, and so on and so on. And last of all, some Star Wars Droids cartoon artwork. Sorry about the reflection on this one, not much I can do about that, I'm afraid. That's original artwork from the cartoon TV series. So, as you can see, I'm a big fan of droids. Let's see if I'm a big fan of the game. Okay then, let's have a quick look at the packaging. And this is a mad game, as it says down the left hand side. And it's got quite a nice picture of the droids on the front there, with some characters from the TV show. The TV show, by the way, took place before the events of the Star Wars Episode 4, in case you're interested, and presumably after the events of Star Wars Episode 3. Although that was obviously a figment of George Lucas's imagination at the point this TV show was produced. Anyway, moving on. Annoying thing, all the other, or virtually all the other game spines have, well, let's do a comparison, shall we? That's what most of them look like. Droids is completely the wrong way round. That's incredibly infuriating for a collector. Anyway, moving on. Back cover's got some info about what you're supposed to do in the game. Nail-biting drama, apparently, that pits droid against droid, or puts droid against droid, according to that. And calls for serious game playing skills. That's me in trouble then. Programmed by Binary Design, who did quite a few of the games for Mastertronic. And some screenshots on the back which show the droids walking backwards and forwards in a corridor. And taking a quick look inside, we've got some background for the game. Basically R2-D2 and C-3PO have been locked away in a prison, it seems. Tells you how to play the game. More on that later. And controls, various things you can pick up and use. Usual sort of stuff. Instructions, basically. And some very basic foreign language stuff again there. Loading instructions only. And a blank page on the inside there. So here's a title screen, and there's a nice swirly pattern of what looks like really Mickey Mouse style Death Stars spinning around there, and some texts telling you who made the game and so on. Music's pretty cool. That's the music from the end credits of the TV show, so that's quite nice. Anyway, moving on. Let's get on with the game. Okay, so here we are in a tunnel on the prison level, and I just got hit by a robot and another one. It doesn't really matter at this point. Graphics are quite nice. The movement of the characters is ridiculous in this game. Let's get it over and done with right here and now. You don't move them directly with the joystick, which would be nice and easy because it's just left, right and shoot effectively. Instead, you have to use these icons down the bottom of the screen where this cursor's moving backwards and forwards. So if you want to go left, you move onto the left arrow and press fire and he moves. You want to go right, he turns around. You want to shoot, you've got to press the one there. So imagine if you really need to turn around quickly and shoot, you can already imagine it's going to be quite tricky. So anyway, yeah, the graphics are quite nice representation of R2-D2 and C-3PO, no problem with that, and the tunnel of the prison's fairly okay, and the enemy droids are alright. This guy's the least intimidating droid of all because he doesn't move at all, so you just throw one of these bombs and blow him up. So the crystals, you've got 20 odd of them to start with. The little yellow things trundling along the floor are a lot more tricky. They just tend to run into you before you can even get a shot at them. So we'll wander along and see what we can see. Another green guy, get rid of him. There you go, buddy. Okay, so you might have noticed that robot was flashing and he's dropped some crystals for me, which is nice because I'll be needing a lot of those. I like these robots. These remind me of the robots, the ones flying along the ceiling remind me a bit of the ones from the black hole, if you remember that. Okay, so here comes my first problem, and it's a terminal, and I've got to use the terminal to switch off the deflector thing that's in front of me there, just so I can get through. So you do that by get rid of these two guys. So you do that by moving to this icon here and activating R2-D2, and it activates this console. And the idea is it's like basically like a game of Simon where you've got to repeat the pattern. So it was that one and that one, I believe. Code accepted, and that switched the force field thing off, which is nice. Now the next one's a wall, which I clearly can't get through at the moment without deactivating another one. So let's do that again. Yellow and pink. Code accepted. Now I've got to walk backwards. Basically, it's infuriating, this control scheme. I just don't understand why they made that decision. Anyway. Oh, that's a bomb. You can duck here. So the bomb's firing over the top of me. Why can't I shoot that guy? Oh, I'm just going to walk through him just to avoid the gun. Oh, you see what I mean about the yellow ones? By the time they appear on the screen, they're already too close to actually shoot. Some of the robots require more than one shot, as illustrated there. So, as far as I can gather it, the idea of the game is to get out of the prison. And so, to do that, I need to go up. And this, oh for God's sake, this door here, this elevator here clearly points up. So let's try and get into that using R2-D2. Code accepted. And then you use these two to move up and down in the elevators. And sure enough, there I am on an identical looking floor, which is the mining level according to the caption in the top left corner. Sound wise, very basic sound really. Just the noises of whirring and shooting. They're alright, but there's nothing great about them. Now some of these robots will eventually drop passes, which you have to use to access the more... There we go, there's one of them. It says 2 on it, so you need a level 2 pass to enter level 2 areas. Let's see what happens if I try and access this one here, which says a 1 by it. It says incorrect pass. But the strange thing is, it lets you do the code to activate the lift anyway, which would seem to be a bug in the program. I'm sure the idea is to make it a bit more tricky by... I hate those guys. Ooh, that looks dangerous. sure the idea was that you couldn't access those level 1 areas until you'd got the right pass. And yet, strangely, I haven't got the right pass, but it still let me into it. Seems to be a serious bug in the program. Maybe the people programming it just decided they really didn't care that much. Anyway, so let's go up another level. And now I'm in Fact 51 level and it's gone pink. Which is fair enough, I suppose. Okay, there's another terminal here. When you do get the crystals that the robots drop, it does replenish your energy as well. So let's activate that. And the higher levels you get, the more complicated the codes are. I'm not sure if I've got this one right. Yes, I did. So I deactivated the magnet thing. This one's another level up, so that would be useful. So let's try again. And basically, this is all the game seems to be, is just find the door, undo the code, go up to the next level. Which would make for a reasonably decent arcade adventure, were it not for this dreadful control mechanism. So I'll carry on for a little bit longer, but basically just to sum things up right now, can't really say it. I mean, I actually did buy this when I was a kid, for the obvious reason that it's Star Wars related, and I did buy it again prior to starting my collection, so I obviously had some kind of memories of it, even if they weren't fond. But it's really hamstrung by this ridiculous control mechanism, which I imagine as the levels get a bit tougher, the controls become even more infuriating as more enemies advance, and you can already see there's more enemies on this screen than the one before. So I imagine it gets pretty tricky later on and results in some death. Anyway, I'll carry on and see how I get on for a few more minutes. Okay, so I'm approaching the end of my health here, not making any kind of progress. I've been wandering around trying to get to higher levels and can't work out how to do it. As I've already said, oh, there we go, that's game over. As I already said, it's got some nice ideas, but let down by a terrible control system. I can't say it wasn't worth $2.99 back in the day, because I did actually buy it, but pretty much it's a bit of a naff game nonetheless, and probably only of interest to fans of Star Wars or people with some kind of sadomasochistic tendencies that want to use that awful control mechanism. So there we have it, that's Droids, and moving on, we'll be going back to the big screen on my next video.